Hello, hello, it's Brandy Davison here. I am a sparkler, a design team member with SpiegelMom Scraps, and I'm here to show you my process video of this 12 by 12 layout. I am using the My Mind's Eye Happy Days collection, inspired by the light bulbs in this collection. I also cut some of these free light bulb with a heart in the middle cut files from SpiegelMom Scraps, and you can find those on our website. And then today I'm using the Minty Meadow sequin mix. This is a new one for October, and I love that it absolutely matches all the yellows and the greens and the pinks that are in the My Mind's Eye Happy Days. I've been super lucky. It actually matches quite a few of their latest collections, including the Wander collection, so that's worked out really well. So my idea here is I'm going to make both of these little light bulb, heart light bulbs into sequin shaker pockets, if you will. These, I just have one that's a little bit bigger than the other. I just upsize those or downsize those before cutting those on my Cameo. And what I do is I just use old packaging. So I'm going to use a really skinny sequin tape here. That's just a strong double-sided tape. And I'm going to secure it all the way to the outside of that area that kind of is the bulb area, if you will, where there would usually be glass. The sequin tape that I have isn't quite skinny enough, so you can see here that I'm actually cutting it in half in order to make sure that none of the adhesive of the tape shows through onto the clear packaging. So I just go through and on every single edge of this, the piece that I want to create, kind of the outer border of the shaker pocket, we'll get this double-sided tape. And this is, the tedious part of working with cut files when you want to make them shaker pockets, I guess, but I don't find it any more tedious than when, say, you back a cut file in different paper. It's just a different process, and like every minute of this I enjoy. So even though I'm even on fast forward right now, which is interesting because it doesn't look like it, but yeah, I just really like the process. So nice and calm. I've got my laptop off to the left there, and I've got my glass of wine. You can see just the edge of it on the right. So this is really fun. So once I've got that all secured, I then just pull off the back layer, if you will, so that it's all sticky. And then I will take that piece of plastic I had cut there, which was just from a package of thickers from my stash, and I will just place it directly over top. And you can see there, I'm just trying to make it so that it's not thicker than the actual paper base or the cut file base there, because I don't want it to show through on the back. Oh, must have missed a spot there. What's interesting is you do have to get every little spot, or you'll find once in a while you'll find sequins in places you didn't intend, like the bottom of your full page protector or on your craft table. So I've just secured it down on top of the plastic, and I am going to just put a little piece behind this heart just so he's not all floating about. And then I flip it over. I do make sure it's secure again. You don't want your sequins going everywhere. And then I do the same process again. So I'm going to cut these in half, this sequin in half. I think I only have the 1/4 inch and I needed the 8 inch. But this totally works. I find I'm pretty successful doing it. Very little waste. Some of it will end up sticking to the scissor, but it's totally fine. And so I'm going to do the same process again. I'm going to cut the tape in half, then I'm going to line it exactly on the paper again so it doesn't show through the adhesive. And I find with the sequin, you can do the curves. It really just molds around the curve. I know some folks are doing what I'm doing with this tape with a foam, like a really skinny foam. I just haven't found a foam that's skinny enough for me, or the only one I did find was black, and I find you can really, really see it, especially when you'll see this is a really clean layout, and no other black is on the page, so it just stands out too much, I feel, from the sides. So I'm peeling that off, which you could pour your sequins on there first. I find if I pour my sequins first and then rip it off, I move the file just enough that the sequins then kind of stick to the tape. So I find I'm better at being more careful pouring the sequins on. So I'm pouring them directly onto the plastic. The cut file is technically upside down right now. And again, this is the Minty Meadow. It's a new one for October. It's still in the shop. The link is below. It is such a good one. I cannot believe how well it matches the My Mind's Eye collections that I have in. And the sequins are on, and then I'm going to take another piece of plastic and I'm just going to put it right on top. And then again, make sure that the sequin is really sticky, and you can see there that it's perfect shaker pocket. And then I just go around the edge of the cut file like you would as if you were backing them with paper and cut off the excessive plastic. And because the tape goes all the way to the edge, I'm not hurting the pocket in any way. The pocket is still going to stay there. So that's what I did to create that little sequin pocket, and it's so cute. And then off camera there, I created another one, so you saw that there was two. And then what I did as well is I had this one piece of paper from the Happy Days collection that was already cut in this diagonal, and I thought, oh, well, let's see what I can do with that. So this is where I'm starting from. So I've brought in all of the embellishment pieces that I'm looking to use here, and you can see them kind of scattered about. I had auditioned a whole bunch. I tried about 10 different ways to have this layout, and I cut them all because it was like 40 minutes of video, and it was painful to do, and it would be too painful to watch. So this is where I'm at. So this is what I think I'm going to be doing here. The whole concept of this is we went to, myself and three of my closest friends, one is my sister, went to Scotland last year and hiked for my 40th birthday. And our girlfriend, Cheryl, brought these hydrating masks, like to-go hydrating masks that we could put on at some point on this 9-hour flight, or for me it was an 11-hour flight. So it was just like the coolest idea because you always show up after a long haul flight feeling so dry and dehydrated and ugly, and yeah, so it was just such a bright idea. So that's why I like this idea of the light bulbs, and then the fact that there was these light bulb cut files was really cool. So I'm saying the title of this page here is Bright Idea. It was awesome. And then I'm just picking out embellishments from the Happy Days die cuts pack that match in and above those little light bulbs that I'm using, the green one and the yellow one. So here I'm just going to audition a few more things. There are some little phrases, yes and nice, which matched perfectly and sat nicely on that bigger light bulb without hiding the heart too much. On the small light bulb, I think it would have hit it. So that's kind of what you see there is the design that I'm going to end up with. And I've decided that, one, I'm also going to pop up my pictures. And then as well, I'm going to do some stitching here, and I'll show you that. But before I get too far into it, I do tend to glue down the bits I know that are going to stay there. So like the awesome was a little bit hard to place straight, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that stays down. Then I'll glue that on. As you can see, I'm very, very fussy with it, but I think it ends up crooked anyway, so whatever. I find with the lines, because the lines on that page aren't straight, they're quite fun and messy, which is also why I like the pattern paper that it's on. But then you don't really have something to line it up to. And I have no idea what I did with my T-Jack ruler, so I'm back to faking it again. But you'll see I actually stitch over this awesome, so it would be fine if it was a little bit crooked as well. But what I hear, just putting down the things that I know are going to stay there, so that when I can use them sort of, I try to glue one or two things down as sort of the anchor if I know I'm going to keep playing with things. And then I find putting it all back together the way I liked it seems a little bit easier. These guys are going to get glued down. And again, this says nice, yes, and eventually I add another one on there that says fun. So I love word phrases. Any die cut, sticker, chipboard, puffy that comes with word phrases just like absolutely brings me joy. I have the Tim Holtz word phrases in my stash, the snarky, the traveler, the simple, like all of them, and I love them. They show up on probably way too many layouts. I just find them just a perfect little touch. So that's how I know I want my photos. So I often, if I've got my photos in exactly the angle of each other that I want them, I tape them together. Like I don't do them separately and then try and find that angle again. I flip them over exactly as they are, and I just use a single piece of sequin all the way across. And in this case, because my sequins, I put a lot of sequins in those light bulbs. Like I love this sequin set. They're quite puffy, so I wanted to make sure to lift my photo just a little bit. So I'm putting this on foam, and this isn't adhesive foam. I wish I had found the adhesive back foam, but it's been really hard for me to find here in Canada. So this is just regular like craft foam, if you will, that is appropriate for using in scrapbooks according to the list of ingredients anyway, but it's not adhesive. So it comes in like 4x6 little craft sheets of like every color of the rainbow, which it never shows, so it doesn't matter what color it is. And I just cut it up and I just use adhesive on both sides. So that's what I'm looking like there. And then off camera, what I did, and you can tell it's a different day, it wasn't a wardrobe change. I went and I stitched on the bottom of the light bulbs, kind of really zigzag where they would screw into like the light fixture, all the way around that diagonal piece. And then I just did 3 or 4 passes directly over the awesome to just kind of give it some white stitching. And as happens when you're stitching on paper, the knot, there isn't a knot at the end, and I don't do like a backward stitch to make sure that it stays because I find it sometimes rips the paper. So I just pull there's a piece of string that comes out the back and one out the front. I pull the one out the front back, and then I just put a piece of washi to hold it down. So you can see I did that on the diagonal piece as well. And then I'm not worried about anything coming unraveling or trying to tie a knot. I mean, yeah, that's just not going to happen. It's not my MO. So here I am putting things back, sort of. You'll see I kind of change it a little bit because I have a bit of an idea here on how to sort of spread it across the page by splitting that big light bulb and the little light bulb, as well as the two Mind's Eye die cut light bulbs. And I really like how that yellow one above the awesome pops on that stripe paper quite a bit. So this is where I'm at now. So stitching been added, and then I'm largely putting it back together the same. You'll see I kind of move things around a little bit, but I use that awesome as the anchor. And so this is what the layout ends up looking like with some embellishments. And so here I'm going to proceed with gluing things down. And then what I tend to do is I glue down the big stuff, and then I go through one more time in any matching die cut packs or stickers or chipboard or more sequins to sort of see if more should be added, or if there's a little kind of blank spot or extra phrase stickers or a puffy sticker here or there. But I get sort of like 90% of it down, and then I sort of look through my stash again for anything different. And this bright idea is also on my the Cameo cut file, the silhouette cut file, Silhouette Cameo, and it's just a random font from the free fonts. I don't have a lot of fonts. I just got my cut file last fall, so a year ago, and I'll be honest, I'm really just starting to figure out how to use it, how to make it a superpower of my scrapbooking instead of this machine that's gathering dust, which it did for the first month because I was so intimidated. But now I think I have figured it out. And I don't buy a lot of cut files. Like mostly the ones that I buy are like travel and stuff. I love, there's quite a few companies out there that are great. But lots of what I do is the free cut files that come out. So if you're interested in that, or you're not already signed up, the SpiegelMom Scraps newsletter comes out every week, and it always includes a free cut file, which is where I got this little light bulb. And there was a light bulb with a heart, a light bulb with a star, and a light bulb with a butterfly. And I just love the hearts too much. I mean, anytime there's a heart, I'm going to pick it over anything. And yeah, so a free one comes every month, and then they spotlight somebody either on the design team or somebody who's been posting in our Facebook group called Spread the Sparkle. So it's really cool, and it's nice and short, comes once a week, but just enough inspiration, and then something free as well, which is always nice. And then you get the chance to be reminded of our pre-orders and all that good stuff. So then I'll just get this guy off. I used to exclusively use wet adhesive, but I did find the amount that I was using it, as you can see, I like to use a lot. I think I'm moderate. I'd sometimes get warping on my pages, and I just found it really expensive. I'm a Tombow fan to keep up with, so I've moved to using a lot more of the sequin, which was a really nice transition for me because I've been doing traveler's notebooks for just the last year, and I find the glue is just too hard in a traveler's notebook. Stuff still moves, or it wets the page a little bit too much. And then I've just brought it into my scrapbooking, and I really, really like it. When I first bought it, I actually didn't know you could rip it. So for like a month, I was cutting it, and I was like, this is for the birds. This is so dumb. I don't need one more thing to do. And then I was scrapbooking and listening to the Scrap Gals podcast, which is a really good one. If you don't know it, they're just hilarious. And Iris Fox, Whimsy Fox, who she's known on social media, was on, and they were talking about adhesives and, blah, 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 talking. And she's like, and I just love with sequin that you can just rip it. And I was literally cutting a piece at that time as I was scrapbooking. It was like, need the mind blown emoji for that moment, because wow, is it ever faster to just rip it than cut each piece and have it stick to your scissors. So there you go. Learning something every day from somebody through YouTube or podcasts or Facebook or Instagram. Love it. It's the best thing about this community is that we just share all the things that works. There's no secrets. It's all tips and processes. So that looks like that's pretty much the big stuff here. And then here I'll go through. You'll find I keep picking up my page because I want to keep shaking the shaker pockets. So if I do that a lot in my process videos here on SpiegelMom Scraps YouTube channel, bear with me. I just find them so much fun. I have made only my first one like last month when I started playing as a guest designer and now as a designer with them. And I have no idea how I lived my life without them, basically. I was using sequins and SpiegelMom sequins in a whole bunch of other ways, but not as a shaker pocket. And now that I have, it's just like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? How have I not been doing this? So you can see me there. I'm going back. That's my, I use a Cricut mat because my silhouette mat ran out of stickiness. But I've realized I hadn't put on my little, dot the I's and cross the T's yet for the bright idea there. And I really like how that plain bright idea just pops. And I was a little bit worried about the A on idea being on the white, but when it's not on video, you can tell that it says idea there. It's a little bit harder here on the video. So there's where I could pull in that fun phrase. So that's the third one. I wish there was so many more of those little phrases in this die cut pack, but there isn't, and that's okay. It forces me to use other things like the chicken that's included and the ice cream cone. Random combination. But I will use that chicken. I commit to using that chicken because it's very cute. Not on this page, however. So there's me. I just felt like, well, I wanted a really clean layout. I didn't want any mess. Usually I'm pretty prone to putting splatters on things. I did feel there was just too much white space. And I'm just one of those people, like, when in doubt, there's nothing an enamel dot or a small circle can't do. And so that's what I'm doing here, is just auditioning some of these circles. The Mind's Eye Happy Days, this die cuts pack comes with every number, 1 to 9, and then a whole bunch of these other little matching circles, which is awesome for like a circle inspired layout, but also just for, using in these empty spaces. Okay, so here I am just gluing down the circles that I've made a decision on to kind of fill up, like I said, that white space. Apologies, I keep leaning forward there. Yeah, so just sort of committing to these guys. Everything matches in the collection, so it's not like you can go wrong. I just thought like the yikes was funny because I can imagine what we look like. If you can actually see these pictures, which you will on the stills in the end, my face is up front there with like, oh my gosh, yikes, and then Cheryl's in the background with the full mask on. Just hilarious. She's just, oh my gosh, I just love her. So yeah, so the yikes seemed good, and all the sentiments on here, like nice, have fun, good idea, so happy, and then as well like the question mark, it just kind of seemed to be really cool. So that is me. That is what it ends up looking like. I did debate putting a bunch of sequins kind of in the white space as well. I auditioned them there and I didn't love it. I loved the clean. I felt like I wanted the shaker pockets to be the focus. So yeah, so here you go. There's some stills and close-ups here, but that is me on SpiegelMom Scraps for today's process video. All the links are detailed below, including the code Brandy15 to get 15% off your purchase. Thanks so much.